two issues from Prime Minister. Firstly, they might say that like encouraging individual girls to combat patriarchy is better for the social engineering. Even if we consider they can achieve that impact, why we say even for the sake of that, individual girls should not be victimized from the perspective of education. Secondly, pragmatically speaking, why our side teaching rampant sexism and how to maneuver around it, we're better off in providing well-being of individual girls. Before that, 4 points clarified. Firstly, why we will teach. So this motion is about teaching itself. So we are not necessarily encouraging always you have to maneuver around it. But so we don't structurally force them to maneuver all the time. But if it consequentially nudges them to maneuver around it in the face of sexism, we are happy to accept that phenomenon might happen in some cases. Secondly, young age means like compulsory education, so teenagers and schools, parents, whoever will teach the uses of sexism and how to maneuver around it. Thirdly, what is rampant widespread sexism? Within context is likely about more relatively conservative patriarchal societies where sexual offenses are more happening to the women than male, or job discrimination exists. Just because they are female, they are deprioritized for promotions or hiring, or the political representation in those countries is really few, like the only few percent of girls or females are chosen as a political representative, for example. Lastly, what is to maneuver around sexism? We think it implies two means. One is to access to the important protection like shelters or hotlines, like you can be segregated from the property if you consult with these places, for example, or if they prefer, it can include like compromising to the patriarchal societies, like flattering with the males, or like making compliment, or like making connection with the men, so that you can be better protected by both male individuals. Any clarifications? Okay. Firstly, principle. There are two reasons why we think those individual girls should not be instrumentalized and victimized for the social engineering. Firstly, we think in general, individual human beings should be able to protect themselves. Because after being adults, after being independent, you are the only actor who are the most reliable person or existence to protect your own life and your own like entire lives and life and lives. Then we think those individuals themselves should be able to protect themselves, not by any other actors. Secondly, we think that purpose of education primarily is to give ability and agency for individuals to choose the best forms of future in their lives. Then we think for that, the informative education and informed decision is extremely important, because life is the only property you have upon the birth, nothing you have. Therefore, we think those individuals should be able to maximize and optimize how to use their own lives for the sake of their own lives. Therefore, we think it is unjust to instrumentalize those individual girls for the sake of any social mobility or social engineering. Especially in this context and this motion, we think it is birth lottery that the individual girls haven't chosen anything to be born as a female and suffering from patriarchal structures. Then just because they are born as female should not be any conditions or justifications for educational society to victimize those individuals for any purposes. Even if we consider that they might succeed in changing patriarchal structures in some futures, we think it is still unjust for specifically two reasons. Firstly, it's likely that those individual girls who fought for the combating stereotypes of patriarchy might not be the beneficiary in the most cases of those combating patriarchal structures. Now, the combating patriarchal structures takes too much long time, like changing social structure for the politics, like increasing female politicians, and also influencing the corporate structures, which currently male individuals are dominating for several decades. Then even if those individual girls might succeed combating patriarchy after several decades, it's likely that those individual girls cannot be the beneficiary for those combating patriarchal structures. They may think it's unjust to victimize those individuals. Secondly, even under our side, still those individuals are able to choose whether to fight back against patriarchal structures or not after being informed the existence of patriarchal structures and sexism and how to maneuver around it. That's what they have to defend, why structurally automatically those individuals should be barred from the necessary information to protect themselves in the society. Before second issue, if you have POIs. Okay. Second issue, pragmatic superiority over the house. So two issues. First is about the uniqueness of the young age for two aspects. First, we think young ages are extremely flexibly minded so that they can be fully informed how to maneuver around it. If they become after adult and being informed how to maneuver around it, it's likely that those individuals might be grossly internalize the different values. Then even if they are taught that the existence of sexism or how to maneuver around it, it could happen that those individuals might subconsciously reject how to maneuver around it, like not necessarily flattering, but like doubting the patriarchal structure, for example, then it's extremely important that from young ages those individuals are informed. Second aspect is that there's huge possibility, I think this is more important, that those individual girls will face discrimination and sexism before being adults, later please. So that it's really important for the individual girls from a young age to be taught the existence of sexism and how to maneuver around it. On the way to the schools, it's likely that those individuals on the train, on the street, might face against molesters or sexual offenses, or in the club activities or exams or job selections, it could happen that those individuals, just because they're a girl, are not chosen as a leader or the prominent individuals. Then we think it's very important to know that how to maneuver around it from the young ages. Yes.
So how your counterfactual, like maneuvering around, actually dilutes or dismantles sexism in your paradigm?
We don't have to dilute sexism in the first place because we are protecting individual lives. If you want to prove, please prove. But my partner Shunchan is going to flip that anyway. Secondly, how teaching sexism and how to maneuver around it will better protect individuals. Three aspects. Firstly, we think impact of the first contact without knowing the existence of sexism is more harsh than the contacting with sexism before being informed. Anyway, those individuals are likely to face sexism. This is very important, right? Then, like not chosen as a leader just because they are female, even though they are incompetent or like job discriminations or like molested sexual offenses, anything can offense you, then it's very important to be psychologically prepared and expected so that they can be conditioned to endure those expected harms. They might see that teaching sexism might implant sense of self-inferiority, but anyway, they will face sexism. The important exclusivity here is that they can be prepared and conditioned to endure those psychological or traumatic harms. Second, how to maneuver around it will weaponize those individuals to avoid harms. Like if they are served blue-colored drink, it could include rape drugs, or like it's better for individuals to prepare pills in order to avoid worst-case scenario of unwanted pregnancies. We think those measures can be only available if they are taught from the young ages. Lastly, we think internalization of coping mechanisms might subconsciously limit future choices, subconsciously giving up STEM courses, for example. That it's really important from the young ages that they are taught the existence of patriarchal structural sexism. For this reason, we are happy to propose.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your excellent speech. Now I'd like to call upon the opposition leader of the opposition to open up their case within 7 minutes.